to say to you, Mr. Cost, thank you for giving me the opportunity to do this. It's something I'd love to do and really have a deep fixation for. And second, to you, audience, sorry for you having to stare at this picture. I am not a photogenic person. That's all I'm going to say.
It's hot.
I'm going to begin by saying that I am a very technical and a very serious person. Those of you who know me, teachers, friends, you know that this is how I behave. But, surprisingly enough, today I'm here to talk to you about how to be exceptionally romantic. Just for guys who think that you can come to this presentation, take a few notes and say, okay, I'm going to get all the notes I want, that's not the presentation for you, I'm sorry to tell you. But I hope you do learn something in the process. Let me give you a little bit of insight on my life. I consider myself romantic because I've always been a fan of small deeds that represent how I truly feel, represent my affection. I would say this dated back to 7th grade when I got this girl I liked, a stuffed animal at a free throw concession stand, my sister's birthday, in an amusement park. I would say that's how it all began. I went on to date this girl in 8th grade for a single, very awkward week. So I don't really count it as a relationship, so to say. But it gave me a little bit of insight. And with this, I learned that you don't have to be in a relationship to be romantic. What I tried to do a lot was be romantic over text, or the things I said. I adored making girls blush, or maybe have some sort of spontaneous reaction that it was just not usual. You wouldn't see them do until they go, yes, thank you for laughing for that. Nonetheless, and for this I kept count. I've been friend-zoned, and for those of you who don't know what the term friend-zone is, ask any teenager. 7 times. 7. Now, I still kept optimistic. At the age of 17, some of you might know, I got my first girlfriend. And I continue with these deeds, as you might see in this picture, which I shall get through with very high amount of speed. Flowers and chocolate. Cliche, right? But still very romantic, or at least until the end of the presentation. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, especially older people, definitely older than me. Like Bevel said, a lot of you here are a lot older than me, I'm only 17. You might be thinking, why should I listen to any of this? I mean, you're young, you're inexperienced. You never had any serious attachment, any sort of commitment or relationship, which is all really perfectly fine and it's true. And what I'm going to tell you is that, my friends, is precisely why I can tell you. I'm going to talk to you about what love is in its most basic form. No need to overthink, which I do, because that's my personality, right? Or get lost in serious compromises. The ability to contrast what it was before for me and compare it to what it is right now allowed me to come up with this presentation. But first, and like I said in the beginning, allow me to get technical. What is love? I want you to read the definition while I drink a sip of water. And I want you to pay very close attention to the words different from familiar or friendship love. And I want at the bottom is a little bit of a curious fact, so to say. Okay, we have a definition, but love is a feeling. And a feeling is never understood unless felt. And this is what you feel, or so research has concluded. These are MRI scans. I'm sure some of you already know who it is, looking at you, Mr. Davidson, and some of you might not. these are pictures of people's brains. Now, the top image are pictures of people who, at the moment of the MRI scan, were in a relationship. The middle image are people who, at the time of the MRI scan, recently ended a relationship. And the bottom is, as you might suspect, people that are not in a relationship and they haven't been for quite some time. What we see here in pretty much every single brain scan is that there are different levels of activity. As we can see from the scale, you can tell that the red, which red is the color for love, right? Okay, is codes for more activity in these certain sectors of the brain. Now, these sectors of the brain represent what's known as the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, and this is associated with general attractiveness. What we see here is, I hope you guys all can see it, is that it decreases as we go down. We see more activity, a little bit of a darker red in these top areas, goes decreasing a little bit in the middle, and at the end, except for this one, this guy's an exception, we see that there's pretty much not that much in the ventromedial prefrontal cortex. Now, oh, by the way, I used white slides on purpose because, you know, a little focus on my words more than what's seen in some moments. I'd like to show you that these people, the people you all saw in that image, were, first of all, well, this is what I went through. They were instructed not to think in anything in particular. They just sat down on the whatever machine it is that does the MRI scan, and they just were left alone for their thoughts. And some of them thought about the person they were in a different from familial or friendship level, involuntarily, almost. So according to these researchers and these universities, which I cite to avoid plagiarism, the activity in the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, specifically with regard to emotion, social functioning, reward, and motivation, increases as love or exposure to love increases. Okay, cool. Now what? You gave us detail. You gave us your experience. What follows? What I'm trying to do here is to tell you that there is a way to be romantic without attaining to the different from familial or friendship love definition. Why does it need to be flowers and chocolate? Why does it need to be a flirty message or conversation or an extravagant exposition of how you feel for a certain person? Why not make it a serious conversation? When will you open yourself to anything that you might possibly want to say regardless of what the other person will think? Whether it's cheesy, annoying, whether it makes you nervous or happy. Because I believe that what needs to happen is a redefinition of what romanticism is. Because true romance contrasts the image of perfection, or so I came to believe. True romance is telling another person the truth, regardless of what might happen. Whether it is that it might be an ugly truth, and it hurts at the moment, but you know that eventually it will strengthen the bond. Whether it makes you accept another person's limitations, whether you have to focus on the bad to ultimately see the good. That's what true romance is. It's not a set of actions. It's not a guideline. It's not an instruction I can give you to get any girl you possibly want. It's a state of mind. This is why this picture was so big. Now, in case for the people who don't know what this is what is known as the 36 questions. This was an article published by a woman who originally see this. Now, I don't know who came up with these questions. Apparently, neither does she. But she tried them on a colleague of hers and got married and remains happily married, according to her. She even did a TED Talk about it too. But the reason why these questions, and you might read some examples, You might understand what I'm trying to say. They're so big because they allow people to open up without regard to secrecy. They allow what I consider to be true romance, what the redefinition of romance means. Now, if you were to remember the MRI scan, which is why I included it there, state of mind. Does it ring a bell? Mind? Brain? See what is it there? No? Okay. Well, even if you weren't in a relationship, doing these things, and by these, I don't mean the 36 questions, but I mean just this idea of true romanticism. If you were to get an MRI scan, your brain, your ventromedial prefrontal cortex, will show more regions of activity and to a higher degree, even if you weren't in a relationship. And that might be the small guy we saw right there, number 9, that had an increased amount of activity but no relationship. So, what can we gain from viewing romanticism like this? This idea that it does not have to be restricted to a person or a set of actions. How can it be useful? Well, I've said it before and I say it again. Doing this increases the feelings of reward, motivation, emotion, and social functioning. Even though you're not in a relationship, even though you lack a relationship, or even if you had a relationship. You feel better, you make other people feel better, and in general, there will be no need for any sort of violation of that feeling. If you want to make it a bigger extent, violence. If we all loved each other, we wouldn't need violence, right? No, I'm not going to go into that. You make with that as you wish. What I consider to be a cycle of love. But most importantly, true romanticism contrasts the image of perfection, like I said, and it makes you accept who you really are. There's no way that you can possibly be perfect, but you recognize that, and you might as well try. This I learned after all my friends' homes. You know, I will still care about them. I'm still a friend, a little enforced, but still. I'll still try to be as nice as we possibly be, and this only got me better at trying, right? I had more experience, more background. I'll still keep my friends. But most importantly, I will feel better. Turn that into this. Paradoxical, right? So, if you were to ask me, what is the secret? If you want one condensed sentence, what it is to love everyone else as much as you would love that significant other. And I'm talking about teachers, friends and not the TV show, parents, counselors, students, if you're about that life, okay? And then to love yourself as much as you would love that significant other. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Andrea.